Negreanu opens to $1,200 from late position. That raise comes from his standard late position opening range. Suited connectors down to 5-4 suited aces, broadways, and pocket pairs. Both Phil Galfond and the couch cannon, given flat. The calls cap both ranges. They keep some slow plays, but most of their holdings cluster around pocket pairs, suited broadways, suited aces, and offsuit broadways like ace-10 or queen-9. Negreanu carries the initiative and the positional edge. This paired, semi-wet texture slightly favors the pre-flop raiser. Negreanu has all the overpairs and more hands that can fire small for range, while the callers have more trips with 3x suited but fewer combinations overall.
Ooh, splash the pot.
Come on, Bill, punish these two.
Yeah.
Punish them, Bill.
If anyone needs punishment to this table, these guys are out of line.
The front door becomes backdoor and the wheel draws remain. When both opponents check again, the story is capped and showdown bound. Negreanu steps up to $7,200. That size is excellent in multi-way pots. It prints folds from hands, like ace-high without a spade, puts pressure on mid-pairs without a spade, and protects his own overcards. Galfond releases consistent with a pocket pair that dislikes the pressure or a weak spade draw, while given springs are raised to $24,700.
17.5 more.
17.5.
That jump polarizes him to trips and strong draws. Negreanu's call, rather than a re-raise, keeps his range strong and bluff catchy at the same time he denied, given the chance to realize cheap equity while avoiding inflating the pot against a range that still contains trips. After check-raising turn and betting this river, his value should be flushes, boats, and the very occasional straight. Bluffs are the natural missed or weakly improved hands that turned equity and bricked. Queen-9 with the 9 of spades is the poster child. From Negreanu's seat, this runout is where blockers matter more than absolute hand strength. His continuing range on the turn was deliberately constructed to hold a lot of the ace of spades and king of spades combinations.
If you bet too much, I'm not going to call, so don't go crazy. Just warning you. Or, helping you, I don't know.
We'll go to 28.
28?
28.
Yeah.
There's the final barrel.
Oh, this is an interesting hand. Spade didn't scare you, huh? Or maybe it helped you. I can beat that. I can beat a lot, but wait a minute, you called a raise. I have ace-3.
You have a really good hand, you'll win.
Really?
Yeah.
For sure? Well,
It's got to be a really good hand, but if you have it, you'll win.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I'm probably going to give you your money anyway, because I can't fold this. 28, right?
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
Daniel calls.
Sickening.
It's actually a stone cold bluff.
Oh, wow.
I got the 3.
Doyle Brunson is looking down on ace-8 suited. Scott Seaver opens to $1,200 from early position into a deep, splashy lineup. The table does what this table always does. They come along. Phil Galfond flats, the loose cannon. Given calls, Doyle Brunson calls, and a couple more chips splash in behind. No one wants to fold suited cards or connected stuff in position, and Seaver is now driving a multi-way pot with a stack-to-pot ratio that rewards made hands and nutted draws more than thin bluffs. Flop is a fireworks board in a 5-way pot. It checks down to Galfond, who takes the initiative for $2,600. That probe makes sense with overcards, pairs, or a diamond in hand. Given immediately springs to $10,000. From his seat, Jack-10 of diamonds, or a single diamond hand with some backdoors, feels like it wants to put pressure on one diamond check calls and small pairs. Doyle just calls. That flat is icy. It invites everyone to continue while hiding the real story. Ace-8 of diamonds has already arrived at the nut flush, and cold calling keeps in every dominated diamond that wants to rep strength. The king of hearts hits. Front door diamonds are still the headline, and the king also upgrades a few holdings to top pair plus a diamond, given shoves. He is polar now, telling the table he has a monster or nothing, and with Jack-10 of diamonds, he believes he is value, jamming a strong flush before a scary river kills action. Doyle does not posture or speech play. He just calls. That call is the hammer drop. When the man with the cowboy hat does not even consider raising, It caps everyone else and quietly signals, I have you crushed, keep betting.
All in.
He's all in. Doyle calls.
He's got the
I
nuts.
got the... Oh. I just straight. Good hand. I'm drawing dead. Good game, guys.
Good game, man.
It was fun.
Whoa, Canada. That's it for the cannon.
Dang, you hit the card and you didn't...
Yeah.
Daniel Negreanu is holding Queen Jack offsuit. He opens to $2,500. That's a bread and butter late position open, dominates the Queen 10 and Jack 10 holdings that call too often, has blockers to 3 bets, and plays cleanly post-flop in position. 3 callers flatten with wide capped ranges, offsuit broadways, suited aces, suited connectors, paired high card textures heavily favor the pre-flop raiser because he has all the strong Queen X and slow-played overpairs. Many callers arrive with 8x, pocket pairs, floats, or the diamond backdoors. Negreanu continuation bets $6,000 into a multi-way field, small sizing that targets folds from ace-high and underpairs while keeping dominated Queen X and diamond draws in. When Hashem continues, his range is mostly Queen X, pocket pairs stubbornly peeling, and diamond hands, ace-high floats with backdoor equity also show up. The board double pairs, which is a dream card for the raiser's Queen X. Negreanu's value density jumps because any queen now makes a full house, and his bluffs retain good fold equity against stubborn pocket pairs and busted backdoors. He bets $12,000, again a pressure, but keep worse in sizing. Given action, Hashem is rarely trapping queens. He's weighted to diamonds, ace-high floats, and the occasional pocket pair praying for a river miracle. That river improves a lot of Hashem's floats to 1 pair of aces, but it doesn't dent Negreanu's nut edge. Queens still bowed up, 8s don't exist for Hashem often, and missed diamonds remain abundant. After Hashem checks the 3rd time, Negreanu fires $27,000 for clear value.
As we young internet kids say, you're polarized. Isn't that right, Jose?
Yeah.
It's polarized, right?
Polarized.
You haven't fuffled. Show me one.
Okay.
Daniel shows the jack.
I fold.
Oh, damn it.
Helmuth is looking down on 9-7 offsuit. He limps, which caps his range and invites someone to attack the dead money. Minieri obliges with an isolation raise using a suited king, a great candidate because it has blockers, plays well post-flop, and pushes the button on everyone who limped. Locke and Martinez come along, which pulls the SPR up and widens continuing ranges.
I get unstuck. I get off the tilt juice.
Hard to get off that tilt teat.
Helmuth overcalls rather than 3-betting, a choice that keeps the pot manageable, preserves positional leverage against the raiser, and allows weaker holdings to realize without facing a big pre-flop decision. This texture is excellent for the pre-flop aggressor. As the only player who routinely shows up with strong King X after raising, Minieri can c-bet profitably. The small sizing pressures ace-high, punishes underpairs, and denies equity to random backdoors while risking little against slow-played traps. Helmuth check calls instead of raising. That keeps bluffs firing, prevents the pot from ballooning versus the portion of Minieri's range that will not fold, and sets up a decision tree where Helmuth can choose which turns to accelerate on. Multi-way callers have folded, so we are quickly moving toward a heads-up range battle that favors the in-position player's initiative and the out-of-position player's ability to trap. The second king super polarizes things. From Minieri's seat, this is a green light to barrel because his range contains far more King X than Helmuth's limp call range. The bet around $5,300 targets exactly the hands that called once and hate life now, medium pairs and stubborn ace-high, and it continues to build a pot in case he is ahead. Helmuth's second check call is strategic. Raising isolates him against very strong holdings and folds out hands that might bluff again. Calling keeps his range wider, invites another polarized river bet, and protects the times he is bluff catching with decent showdown value. From a range math perspective, once the king pairs the pre-flop raiser's value density increases, which means the out-of-position player should avoid thin raises and lean into induce lines. Nothing material completes, so Minieri retains a nut advantage and chooses a large polar bet of $17,200. That sizing asks a capped range to overdefend, and it puts maximum pressure on one-pair type catchers that arrived here by calling twice.
Oh, man.
Helmuth's final check call makes sense within that framework. He beats all the natural stabs that gave up drawing equity on the turn.
It's just unreal what happens to me at this place. I mean, I'm just so sick of it, you know? I mean, I just
I mean, I had the best hand of chart, I had the best hand on the river.
What the is going on in this place? They're doing me
What the
kings
is going on
versus
the river? How
queens.
do you
I
call it? You
flop
always think a
trips.
bluff, I only wait for the nuts.
Phil Helmuth is looking down at ace-jack offsuit. He is raised to $2,000, but he's up against Harlow with pocket eights. And Tony G, he's lurking, and he's not planning to stay quiet for long.
Action begins on Phil. Ace-jack. Raised to 2,000. Pocket pair for Russ.
Pot.
Raises to 7,200.
Harlow is the loose cannon in this game, which means he's an amateur who's been given $100,000 to play against 5 pros. Whatever he makes over $100,000, he gets to keep. Meanwhile, Tony G folded, but this is not the last time we see and hear of him this hand.
How much more do you have?
Helmuth is fishing for information, trying to get a read on the delivery driver. Every second Harlow spends fumbling with his chips gives Phil little clues about how strong he really feels.
Phil calls and gives him the WWE stare down. Helmuth off the top rope. The flop, 10-6 deuce, 3 clubs. Helmuth checks the nut flush draw.
Harlow's ahead for now, but Phil's sitting there with 2 overcards, a nut flush draw, and about 27 different ways to ruin this man's whole poker career. If Harlow fires a bet here, things could get messy fast, because Helmuth is definitely not folding this one soon. But Harlow decides to check it back to him.
The turn gives Russ a set. Helmuth, chips in hand, leads out to 5,500.
Gotta take a chance sometime.
I'm supposed to think you're weak, right? Because you're talking?
I won't bet more than 9,000 on the river if you call.
I'm all in.
Russ Harlow, all in.
Helmuth throws out a little feeler bet, just trying to stir the pot. But Harlow responds by setting the whole kitchen on fire. This is actually an incredible read from the delivery driver against arguably the best poker player of all time. Now Phil's got to decide if that nut flush draw is enough to pull him out of the flames, or if he's about to get roasted. He thinks for about 5 minutes and Tony G is starting to lose his patience.
So you potted it before the flop.
It's ridiculous.
What's ridiculous?
I mean, just make a decision, you know? Like, there's other people in the game, too. You're a professional player playing against a loose cannon. I mean...
Now I'm trying to make a decision for 43,000. Can you just shut the up? Call
You're a
floor
professional
man.
player.
Call floor man.
You're insulting everyone. I mean, we're here, we want to play, too.
He's completely out of line here. So I
think he's completely out of line because he's been taking forever to make a decision. Against an amateur player coming in here as the best player in the world, taking 15 minutes to make a decision.
I haven't taken 15 minutes. You want to bet on that?
Well, you will.
You're
that's
so
why
out of line. You know, your etiquette's horrible. Stay out of this.
Gentlemen,
stay out. Let's hear your ruling.
We're going to put you on the clock right now. You got a minute and 10 seconds.
That's your ruling?
Right.
I hope you're proud of yourself, Tony.
Story checks out.
Phil folds. And those are tears of joy.
Phil Helmuth is looking down at King 10 offsuit.
So the fans at home, no one even has a chance of understanding it.
There are some fans at home that are like, oh wait, I see Phil's playing just based on reads.
Call.
And you know, but then they don't understand the subtlety of the trapping game. Raise.
1,000 then.
The trapping game's a long-term game.
We head to the flop 3-way, with Phil out of position and holding a marginal hand against a pre-flop raiser who likely has him crushed. This is a chaotic texture. JR has flopped middle set with his queens, a monster hand, but on a monotone board, he is terrified of the flush. Phil is chasing, but he also knows that his 10 of clubs is a powerful blocker. If the 4th club hits, he can represent the nuts even if he doesn't have it.
Turn. I will not be offended. Yes, you will.
Here, Helmuth makes a move that baffles modern pros. He leads out, a donk bet, for 6,000. This is Phil trying to seize control of the pot cheaply, perhaps sensing that JR is scared of the ace or the flush. JR, however, is not buying it. Holding a set, he raises to 19,000. He wants to charge Phil for drawing. Keating folds, but Phil makes a stubborn call.
The fuck do you have? Aces and queens?
What is Helmuth doing here? Call 13,000. Is he going to represent a club? Well, the river's a 5. He's got king high.
Keating and I are going to chug a beer.
What's going on here?
Old world style. If you guys have a porno, I'll have one with you. A what?
22,000. He calls with king high. Mr. Reed. What a read. Wow.
Well, I think that was someone's table, Chimon.
Flabbergasting.
That was their Corona. Ah, okay.
Fuck, I got fucked up because of the app game. This Jarrah bluffs all his money off on the app game. Just a big ace is good enough to lead out just so he could bluff me. I let out just so he would raise. He fell for it, but he had a set. Later I'm going to lead out with the nuts he's going to raise. I have to. You won all that money? I called you with ace 10.
Yeah.
I won all that
Just
money
fine.
because of the app game.
Guys,
but now it's my turn.
Just have a Corona.
I forgot how tight you're playing today.
Tony G is looking down on 10-9 offsuit.
Here we go, Phil. Did you raise it?
Pre-flop is Tony G doing exactly what Tony loves to do, take a hand that plays huge on connected boards and drag Helmuth into a pot.
Back to the same tricks.
I'm not going to let you two just enjoy
Back to
the
the
pan.
same old, same old.
I feel like I'm stuck in the middle of a triangle.
Stuck in the middle.
Helmuth opens King Jack, a very Helmuth hand, strong enough to raise, not quite strong enough to want a giant pre-flop war. Tony flats with 10-9 suited, the classic, let's see a flop and torture you later. The flop comes 8, Queen Jack, and it is a total car crash in slow motion. For Tony G, it is perfect. 10-9 gives him the nut straight immediately.
We're gonna draw. Draw your gun.
I got a big draw, Tony. What do you want me to do?
The turn brings the 5 of diamonds, which looks like a total brick. Nothing about this card should scare off a player who was happy on the flop. Tony now leans on the situation. The sizing tells the full story. Into a pot that was already inflated, this is not a little probe, it is a serious ask. With the nuts, Tony wants value from exactly what Helmuth has, strong 1-pair hands and pair plus draws that hate folding versus him. Helmuth thinks it through and calls again.
Where's the big draw now? Oh, where's the big draw? Think I'm gonna check to you or what?
Well, I thought maybe you would, yeah.
Yeah.
Helmuth is now facing the most brutal question. Do you really think I am the kind of guy who triple barrels this size with nothing on this board after you called twice? Or, if Tony ever gives up his bluffs on earlier streets, which he often does when met with resistance, then this river bet becomes heavily weighted toward value. Helmuth tanks and convinces himself that against Tony G specifically, people just do not always have it.
All right, I call.
He makes the call.
There you go. Welcome to the game.
Ouch.
Just flops the nuts just off the bat.
Welcome to the game. You've been doing a lot of talking. Now show me your bullets. Show me what you brought to the game. Where's your money? Don't tell me you're gonna play with that crap. You're not gonna embarrass yourself here, are you? Yet again, Phil, produce.
You and him have endless trunks of money. He's a school teacher.
Helmuth kicks things off with ace-5 offsuit. He is raised to $1,000, but he's up against Fishman with king-queen suited, who's a math teacher known for making razor-sharp, calculated plays.
I don't win very many pots from this spot, so...
Fishman calls. Williams calls. Deuce, Jack, Ace, 2 clubs, action flop.
This looks like a fun board.
Williams checks instantly and Helmuth checks behind him, but Fishman isn't waiting around. He fires out $3,000 into the pot, repping strength and leaning on that nut flush draw.
Helmuth raises.
This is a pretty easy call with a flush draw, gut shot, and 2 big cards.
And there it is by Fishman.
The turn brings the 5 of hearts, and Helmuth quickly bets $15,000, now holding 2 pair and looking to extract value.
His pairs are still no good, but PH could be doing this with worse flush draws, and he's got enough behind for decent implied odds.
Fishman is behind, but still has plenty of outs to improve, and this decision should not be a tough one for a math whiz like him.
Add it all up, and Fishman makes the call.
He's looking for a club or a 10.
The river, there's the 10 completing the straight.
Fishman tries to keep a stone-cold face as he watches the river give him the nuts.
Action on Helmuth.
23,600.
His bet is an attempt to build the pot, but Fishman, with the nuts, is going to try to include some serious acting.
23,600 into a $45,000 pot.
This is pretty dirty. Fishman's reverse pedaling the nuts.
Helmuth, with 2 pair, doesn't know he's walking into a trap. Fishman, with the nuts, is going to try to include some serious acting, waiting for him to commit more chips.
I'm not going to let you do this to me again, Phil. I can't let you do this to me again.
Leonardo DiCaprio could not be selling this any better.
How much you got behind?
This is Fishman's way of trying to convince him he's not too strong. Helmuth tries to keep as cold as possible and doesn't even answer Fishman's question.
Was there an answer to that?
Like 85 or something.
I'm all in.
Fishman shoves.
He even fake hesitated. Watch that Oscar, Leo.
I'm done, Phil.
I see method acting, improv, pantomime. If Phil calls here, the kid stays in the picture.
Ha 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 ha. This acting is so terrible that it makes you wonder if it's not a double bluff. Helmuth is going to blow up after he sees what Fishman is holding.
This is so sick. I mean, is it possible that I just get cooled every hand I play here? You got king, queen of clubs? I mean, I guess so.
Phil's put him on his exact hand.
God, all that talking leads me to believe, wow.
Now, that might be real. I'd certainly be shaking either way.
All right, I call.
Helmuth calls and sees king, queen of clubs.
Bingo! Can I even play in this game? I mean, what the they find, I mean, what the
That was a great read, by the way. You had him.
Yeah, you're a real, the guy hits a miracle 10 on me, and what, you want to just step on me?
He's a school teacher, and you and him have endless trunks of money. Endless trunks of money. He's a school teacher. For God's sakes, man.
Screaming will do you a lot of good.
Daniel Negreanu looks down to king 10 offsuit, a hand with decent equity in a four-way pot. Against him is Elizabeth Houston, who opens to a queen-jack offsuit. Let's see who will the poker gods bless this time.
See that? Cheap flop.
Reynolds folds.
Also makes it easier to call this 3-bet from Tony G.
He raises to 2,000. Queen jack for the cannon. She calls out of position. So does Daniel.
And like that, Williams built himself his own little pot odds.
He calls 2. 4-person party to the flop.
The flop comes 8 queen jack rainbow, which is perfect for Houston. She is looking at top 2 pair with no danger of a flush and only a potential straight or a pocket pair being in her way. Her odds look great, but I think she should have bet harder before Negreanu had a chance to see more of the community cards.
I fold.
Thank you, William.
With the bet sizing being insufficient, even Tony G with his mid pair of jacks that have 2% equity will make the call. The turn delivers the 4 of spades. Things couldn't have been better for Houston. Pocket 4s would have probably folded, same as the pocket 6s from earlier, but she is still afraid of the flush and straight draw. That's why she fires a bet for a bit over half the pot, which I think will be yet again not enough to get Negreanu off his hand.
Daniel's checking out her stack, knowing she probably has something strong enough to lose it all if he does make the nuts.
Negreanu casually calls her $15,000 bet as predicted. But at least Tony G and his adventuristic jacks are gone. Now let's see what the turn will bring for Negreanu. And it is the ace. What a cooler this will be at the end.
That's Daniel's gin card, and this could get ugly for the cannon. I expect her to bet here.
Now she checks.
Somehow she knew to slow down. Daniel's got the nuts. Let's see how much he thinks she'll pay off.
50.
If Elizabeth has watched the show at all, she would know Daniel doesn't bluff raise the river very often. No one does.
If Elizabeth makes this call, she'll have less than 30,000 remaining in her stack.
Call.
Ouch.
She sees it.
Damn it.
Aussie Katola opens the button to 150K with king jack offsuit. That sizing keeps Foxen's range wide and gives Katola position plus initiative with a hand that flops strong pairs and good 2-pair combos. Alex Foxen defends the big blind with 8-6 of diamonds. Suited connectors are bread and butter, defends heads up, they realize equity well, threaten powerful semi-bluffs on many turns, and can cooler 1-pair hands. On the flop, Foxen checks his second pair with backdoor flush possibilities and tons of turn cards to attack. Katola checks back top 2. That's deliberate pot control and deception on a very dynamic texture. The front door diamonds arrive and the ace smashes ranges.
Foxen made the flush. And Katola has completely under-repped his hand.
We saw this before though, Randy. Aussie checked back Jack 10, allowed Foxen to improve to a backdoor flush, and was able to find a river fold.
Foxen turns a flush and leads 250K. From his seat, this is a must bet. He has a strong value hand, he denies equity to single diamond hands, and he targets exactly Katola's checkbacks like King X and Jack X that hate this card but cannot fold. Katola just calls with kings and jacks. Raising would polarize himself and fold out worse while isolating only stronger flushes. Calling keeps Foxen's bluffs alive, controls the pot on a scary card, and leverages his redraw to a full house on paired rivers. The board pairs and Katola improves to a full house, kings full of jacks. Foxen sees a river that shouldn't change much against most of Catola's perceived turn call range and value bets 5,500K with his flush, targeting one pair hands and ace-X with a diamond. Catola now has the perfect shove. Jamming for roughly 6.1 million applies maximum pressure to every non-boat hand, credibly represents exactly what he has, and captures value from any flush that decides it is too high up to fold heads up.
If Foxen calls here, it's just over. He'll be down $6 million, and I don't see how he can fold.
If we can imagine for a second that playing in such stakes is possible for us mere mortals, what would you do in Foxen's position? Let me know in the comments.
Call.
He calls the biggest pot, $11 million.
Mayhem kicks things off with pocket threes. He raises to $400, but Nick and Francisco call with pocket nines and king-queen suited.
Thumbs up yet? Please do so.
Wow. Whoa!
Ludacris also calls with pocket deuces. This hand is gonna be epic. Mike X looks at 5-4 offsuit. Not the best hand, but in a five-way pot, I think it deserves to see a flop.
YouTube. Uh-oh, I'll shut the hell up here. This is set over set against straight, against overpair. Dear Lord.
Mayhem checks with his set of threes. Definitely not the most optimal play in a five-way pot. Betting big and trying to scare away draws would have been the better play here.
Huge one if the board does not pair. Nick bets his overpair. Here comes a raise. Mike X sitting there with the nuts.
He's tanking, probably deciding how to get value without scaring everyone off. He doesn't want to make it obvious he's sitting pretty, but he also wants to get paid. It's a tricky balance. Does he slow play it or fire to build the pot? Tough call in this high stakes moment.
And Mike, what a cooler flop this is. Look at Luda.
Whoa.
Trying to figure out what the hell Mike could have here.
Mayhem moves all in with his set of threes. He's probably thinking he surely wins this one. But with two sets already on the board, it's just one of those nasty spots where the cards align against him. Can't win them all. And this hand's a brutal reminder of that.
12, 13, 15.
Puts the call in.
Mike's got the straight and he knows he's ahead. But this much action, two big raises in front of him, that's the kind of thing that makes even the nuts feel sketchy. He's sitting there doing mental gymnastics while trying not to look too interested.
I'm all in.
He's going to send it all in.
I guess I already decided. Fuck me. All right, one time, call.
Mayhem needs a 6, a 3, or running 7s. 7, 6, or 3 for Mayhem. Luda needs a 2. Otherwise, Mike's going to win an 89K pot.
Yeah!
Oh my God!
Wow.
No, but Chris runs a massive
Side pot. Sorry, Mike.
Wow.
Oh, wow, you called the 6. That's so sick.
Wow, that's so gross.
Luda ends up winning in this hand.
Needed that.
Wow.
Negreanu is holding pocket fives and he's raising to 95,000. He's up against the legends Tom Dwan with pocket nines and Phil Ivey with pocket tens.
Over to Tom Dwan.
That's not a hand Dwan would fold. Not against Daniel. And definitely not in a $250,000 buy-in. Tom looks like he's thinking. I'm pretty sure he shouldn't flat and trap, but rather crank up the pressure early.
Dwan has just made a call with pocket nines. Perhaps at another time he might have raised. Oh, check this out. Phil Ivey's picked up pocket tens.
Yeah,
and
I'm pretty
he's
surprised.
Just called.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised by the flat call from Phil. It's usually a spot where you'd like to squeeze, especially the fact that he's on the button. It's going to look pretty fishy and quite possibly have someone play back at him.
Mike Haxton folds.
The flop comes 3 queen 6, 2 spades. Negreanu opened with pocket fives, whiffed the flop completely, and now he's first to act on this board, with Dwan and Ivey behind him, who are not exactly known for playing nice when they smell weakness.
Misses all of them. A check from Daniel. This will be interesting.
I don't think any of the three of them are going to be too thrilled with that flop, to be honest. Queen's certainly in the calling range of Tom and Phil. Hands like King Queen, Ace Queen. I expect Phil will just check this back as well.
Phil does. We'll see a turn.
The turn is the 4 of clubs, and things are starting to line up for some sneaky draws. No one took a stab on the flop, which means this pot's still up for grabs, and Negreanu knows it.
And given the fact that he was a pre-flop aggressor, both players have checked back the flop.
He does take a stab.
Dwan isn't just thinking about his cards. He's scanning Daniel and Phil like he's picking up frequencies. These guys are playing poker on a different level. Every glance, every pause, every chip toss. There's a language here only the elite understand, and Dwan is fluent.
I think Tom is more than happy to peel one here with nines. He's got to assume that Daniel's going to bet a queen on the flop there.
Well, he's got his eye on both Daniel and Phil, looking at across the table to both players, and he smooth calls here. So round to Phil Ivey, and this is a tough spot.
Even though he does have the best hand, it's probably correct to fold.
Yeah, well, Phil Ivey kind of stuck there. Tom Dwan now eyes only on Daniel Negreanu, and the river's a two of hearts.
And Daniel gets there.
Oh, Daniel checking. He's going to try and trap him. And look at this, it might work. Dwan reaching for chips.
I check.
Oh, wow, Tom Dwan checks. Daniel not happy.
I don't bet my friends, you know? I don't bet my friends.
Wow, Dwan's really relieved.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 6-5 offsuit. Preflop begins with the kind of passive, loose dynamic that is often the calm before a violent storm.
Hey, Tony, did you used to play basketball in Australia?
Yeah, I did.
You were really good?
I was not good, but I used to play.
He played.
Just like poker.
Yeah.
I just battle.
Are you a good shooter? Bobby gonna start playing
I'm reasonable. I'm not sure if good. I mean, probably like not bad if there's no defense.
Seaver called. Tony folds.
Probably, I don't know, 75% from the three-point line.
75%?
I think that's not very high with no defense. That's not high.
From an NBA three or
no, from the
European three?
Yeah. That's not high.
In a game featuring aggressive pros, a 5-way limped pot is a rare occurrence, creating a family pot scenario where ranges are completely undefined. The flop falls, a texture that looks relatively harmless but is actually a powder keg. Cannon has flopped a massive bottom 2 pair, giving him a stranglehold on the board. The action checks around to Cannon, the last to act. He bets 3,000, a standard stab at the pot. While the others fold, Negreanu sees an opportunity.
Sura folds.
We go to a gym.
Let's go to a gym. Let's bet.
Bet.
I smell a season 3 feature.
And Negreanu will draw.
We do, yeah, I'll bet the whole stack. I can do. We'll have 100 shots in 4 days' time. I got to make 70.
4 days?
Seaver folds.
4 days, I'll tell you where. I'll bet the whole stack.
What's wrong with right now?
I've had a lot of vodka.
He has flopped an open-ended straight draw, needing a 2 or a 7 to make a straight. Negreanu makes the call, floating the bet with the intention of either hitting his hand or outplaying Cannon on later streets. The turn brings the 4, a card that fundamentally changes the psychology of the hand. Structurally, it gives Cannon a full house, 4s full of 3s. However, from Negreanu's perspective, this is the perfect bluff card. Negreanu decides to represent the 4 himself. He leads out with a donk bet for 4,500. He is telling a story that he defended the blind with a 4 and has now turned trips. The river is the 8, a complete brick. Negreanu, committed to his story of having tripped 4s, decides to go for maximum value. He fires a massive bet of 16,500. He believes he has successfully polarized his range.
Wow. Big blind, big blind, big blind, big blind, big blind.
Since you've been so friendly about showing a card, I'm also going to show you one card. Okay? Let's see if this is the one. All right.
Daniel shows a 5.
You get one card only.
This is the moment Cannon has been waiting for. He springs the trap, raising to 61,500. The air instantly leaves the room for Negreanu. He is an expert hand reader, and he realizes the trap he has walked into.
Oh, I should have literally. You can't raise. That's mean.
34%
Viffer's right to laugh. This is ridiculous.
Cannon stacking chips. There's the raise.
Oh, gross. What the hell is going on?
To 61.5.
That just made it all worth it, right there.
Oh, hang on.
Viffer, you agree, right? That was...
The problem is I cannot call. So I have to fold.
Another big pot for the Cannon.
I had 6 high.
Yeah, that's why you got to re-raise anyway. Come on.
If you bluffed that.
I know you didn't. I know you didn't.
Well, he obviously didn't. He had 6 high beat, almost for sure.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 6-5 offsuit, but he's up against his nemesis of 20 years, Phil Ivey, who's holding King-Jack suited. Ivey raises to 75,000. Most players would probably fold in Daniel's spot.
No choice. Can't fold it. Gotta see a flop in the big blind.
There's the call. So it's Daniel versus Phil.
Ivey is 64% favorite for now, but the flop comes 8-6-6 and Negreanu hits trips.
8 of hearts. I don't see Phil falling for this.
Phil checks too. I don't know how, but he can somehow feel Daniel is strong here.
A king on the turn.
Now I see him falling for it a little.
Negreanu wants Phil second-guessing every assumption. Wants him trapped between is he bluffing and is he setting me up? What looks like hesitation is actually misdirection. This is less about cards, more about control.
Daniel leads. Phil now with top pair.
Even if you think Daniel has a 6, you can't just go folding top pair.
Negreanu's sizing here leaves Ivey about 3.5 to 1 on a call. And with top pair, that's usually a no-brainer. But what Daniel's really doing here is laying the groundwork for the river. He's planting the seed that says, if you call now, you're going to have to call big later. This is psychological compounding. Pressure applied in stages. Daniel is hoping that Phil did indeed hit that king on the turn, and he's going to try to make him sweat like a maniac.
He calls. The river is a jack.
Wow, Daniel is running better than Prefontaine.
Daniel value bets his trips. Phil forced to call with top 2.
Nope.
So obvious you have a 6. Got 350.
Trip 6s. Phil shows King Jack for top 2. Daniel's trip 6s takes 5.
Good call, good call. Good thing you didn't raise. That was smart. You know what you're doing.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 6-5 of spades. He opens the suited connector because that's Negreanu's playground hand, cheap, connected, and live. Williams flatting the suited wheel ace is already a headache for anyone who c-bets too often. In position, deep, and with the ace of spades, he's got you in a leash if the board gets wet. Flop comes disaster for most ranges, but both players hit the spade. Negreanu has the baby flush, and does the thing he always does in these textures. Small c-bet to fold out air, tax the lone spade hands, and keep the initiative. From his chair, that bet looks profitable against a ton of single spade peels and random overcards that hate life. Williams just calls with the nut spade like he's ordering room service. Why raise when the guy with the microphone wants to keep talking? Let him. Turn is a brick that freezes almost nobody. Negreanu barrels bigger. That sizing is classic. I can still be the boss. Telling the table he can easily have the ace or king of spades, and that worse flushes should pay to see the river. Williams still doesn't accelerate. Flat again. That second call is a quiet message. Nothing you're repping scares me, and I'm not done letting you put money in for me. To Negreanu's eyes, that's a card that changes nothing. He is either the sole flush or Williams has him beat. For that reason, he slows down and bets only 6,000. Williams is not happy with and raises to 36,000, trying to juice his nut flush to the max.
Much more?
30,000 more.
Daniel calls and sees the terrible news.
Welcome to my world.
I had a flush too.
We could have got it all in on the flop.
Jesus.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 8-6 suited. Calacanis opens to $1,200 with pocket sevens. That raise is standard from middle position. It folds out trash and plays well post-flop. Negreanu flats with 8-6 of diamonds. He is not calling to hit a pair. He is buying position, playability, and high equity boards. This texture massively improves the caller's range relative to the raiser. The pre-flop opener still has all the overpairs, but the callers capture the lion's share of the strong draws and 2-pair straight candidates. Negreanu's exact hand is near perfect. He leads $2,500 into 2 opponents, a small but purposeful stab that pressures ace-high and pocket 8s through 10s, while charging draws that he blocks and dominates.
Got a little some of that.
This card flips equity on its head. Calacanis spikes a set, but Negreanu's straight also arrives. Importantly, the new straight is very available from the caller's range. Any 6 often peels the flop, so Calacanis' set is strong but not invulnerable. Negreanu bets $7,000. That sizing accomplishes 2 things. First, it prints value immediately against one-pair overpairs that do not believe, and against sets that fear raising into a straight. Second, it continues to charge diamond draws that are now drawing thin versus a made straight. From a range standpoint, the flat is telling. He is unlikely to have an overpair without redraws to a full house that wants protection. The board pairs. Full houses become possible and, in fact, Calacanis improves from a set to 7s full of 4s. Negreanu's straight loses equity versus the portion of Calacanis' range that slow played the turn with boats in mind. But many worse hands still exist.
This is reminiscent of a typical hand for Daniel Negreanu. Let's have the nuts with a redraw and see what happens. Let's pair the board, yeah. God, really? No, gotta be kidding me.
Guess that means you don't have the Jack 9 this time.
No, I had the nuts with a redraw. What'd you make it? How much?
35 more. Only 35 more.
Only 35 more. Why?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
What did you have? Like, you don't have a set, right? Because you would have raised me.
Yeah, I would have raised you the set. I could have flopped a straight.
Could have flopped straight. Okay, I can beat that. Whew.
I could be on a flush draw. Could be busted.
Yeah, that's true too. 4s and 5s. No, I think you raised me.
I could have quads.
Yeah, you could have that too.
I could have aces and just be overplaying them.
I was gonna fold for sure, and now I'm thinking about calling you. So you're doing a good job if that's what you want.
Now I'm gonna be quiet and pretend that's not what I want. Tip the dealer $1,000. I will show it to you. You have to split it with the other dealer.
Oh, guarantee.
That's a good deal.
So $1,000, you know what I have. You don't have to live and wait till the end of the.
There's the call.
Sorry, not in the hand.
He called it. 7s.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 10-6 suited. Pre-flop begins with Negreanu putting on a straddle, inviting action in a pot that is already twice the normal size. Tony G, holding 8-6 of spades, decides to attack the straddle. He raises to 2,200. This is a classic Tony G play. He is using position and aggression with a speculative hand to try and take down the dead money.
The G deserves some action.
Calls 1,400.
Yeah, after paying off.
Yeah, you deserve a little bit back. That's how we play. We give, take a little, give a little.
The flop falls, a board that heavily favors Tony G. Tony has flopped bottom pair with his 8, but more importantly, he has a backdoor straight draw. Tony G fires a continuation bet of 3,000. This is where Negreanu decides to get creative. He holds absolutely nothing but 10 high, yet he makes the call. This is a pure float.
Deserve a lot of action.
The turn is the 8, a card that drastically alters the reality of the hand, but neither player truly understands by how much. Tony G hits gin, improving his hand to trip 8s. Negreanu, still holding air, checks. Tony G, now sitting on a monster, bets 7,000 for value. This is the moment Negreanu has been setting up. He executes a massive check raise to 21,000. Negreanu is representing the ace that he thinks Tony doesn't have, or perhaps a slow-played set. It is a brilliant, polarized bluff. However,
nice fake side from Tony. Calls.
All right. Oh, wait, no. I gotta see a river card first. Hang on.
Daniel knows it's over.
Hang on.
Negreanu, realizing his story was not believed and that his 10 high has 0 showdown value, gives up and checks.
Do I look like a man with a hand?
Tony bets 15K.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I could have had nothing too.
Yeah, but I think your nothing beats my nothing. Fold. I was bluffing, Tony. I had a straight draw.
I'm glad. You did have a straight draw? That's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that one. I needed a 9.
Me too. I mean, I could have had a straight draw too.
6?
Tony G shows a 6 and scoops it.
6 with an 8.
Then you might have made it, though.
6-5.
5-6, that makes
I'm
sense.
just getting desperate.
Can't believe I got rivered again. Sick.
Negreanu is looking down on Jack 10 suited. Lichtenberger opens the hijack and both stacks behind are deep, so the pre-flop incentives matter. With aces, raising to 45K keeps in dominated broadways and pairs while leaving room to play streets post-flop instead of taking a huge 4-bet pot this close to the business end of a major event. Negreanu flats the cutoff with Jack-10 suited. Against a competent hijack opener and a sticky big blind, that hand prints by realizing equity rather than trying to 3-bet. If he 3-bets, he invites a 4-bet from value, folds out the weaker stuff he dominates, and risks playing a bloated pot with a hand that prefers multi-way, position, and disguised equity. D bleeds into 2 players. With top pair and a backdoor club, he denies overcards a free look and sets the price on a texture that can change quickly. Lichtenberger just calls with aces. That's deliberate, raising polarizes him on a wet board and risks pushing out Negreanu's dominated continues. With the ace of clubs, he blocks the nut flush, so he doesn't fear as many bad turns and can keep ranges wide. Negreanu's call with Jack-10 is standard. He has the clean open-ender to the nuts, excellent position, and 2 opponents who will pay him off if he hits. Turning this into a raise would fold out worse and isolate against the top of range. The 7 of clubs hits, and Negreanu picks up the straight at the same time the front door flush completes. Lichtenberger checks as well, which keeps his range disguised and preserves the option to spring a check raise. With aces that include the ace of clubs, he can induce a bet, choose between calling and jamming, and if he is behind, he carries 9 outs to the nuts. Negreanu fires 295K to tax everything at once. The bet extracts from 2 pairs and sets that fear a 4th club, charges single club over pairs that refuse to fold, and denies a cheap river to ace of clubs holdings that would love a free card. The sizing is intentional because it sets up a straightforward stack off versus a check raise, and avoids giving a volatile river the chance to undo his equity lead.
Feeling comfortable right now. See? You can tell by my energy. Relaxed. What does that usually mean? Huh? What? Dang! As soon as I start yapping, he goes in. Oh, man.
Imagine that you are so good with the mind games that you can induce an all-in shove with just some yapping.
It's tough decision. I'm gonna need a minute.
While we wait for Negreanu to make his decision, please give this video a like. Thank you.
Because you check the turn. I guess you do that with the ace-high flush, right? Well, you have to have it. I don't think I can fold, though. Nice hand, bro.
This part here was inaudible, but you can clearly see that he is saying deuce of hearts a few times.
Called the deuce of hearts. Were you hearing me saying deuce of hearts?
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on Jack-9 suited. He opens to $3,000 on the button, a classic small ball steal that also invites dominated jacks and queens to continue. Doyle Brunson flat calls in the small blind with Queen-Jack suited, a smooth defend that keeps Negreanu's range wide and retains post-flop maneuverability.
Well, that's a lot of money out there, baby. A lot of money out there.
Gonna get you some.
Troy Wiggins completes in the big blind with pocket 4s for set value, and the stage is set. Brunson, holding top pair with a strong kicker, declines to bet into 2 players on a coordinated texture because checking keeps Negreanu's bluffs alive and avoids building a pot where he could be outkicked or check raised by club draws. The paired board reduces semi-bluffs, and Doyle seizes the lead for $8,000. From his seat, Negreanu's flop check capped him toward medium strength and draws, so Doyle's stab is designed to extract from worse jacks and to tax the clubs and queen-10 type gutters. Negreanu calls rather than raise. The flat keeps the pot manageable against a range that still contains ace-jack or king-jack, keeps Doyle's bluffs and thin value hands firing, and leverages position to make the final decision with maximum information. This river is a sneaky upgrade for Negreanu to 2-pair, while a large chunk of Doyle's range remains 1 pair of jacks. Doyle checks, signaling showdown mode rather than a polarized line. Negreanu now turns the knobs. His hand cleanly targets Queen-Jack and King-Jack, while very rarely running into a slow-played full house on this sequence.
Biggest hand I've had.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on King-Queen offsuit. The table is 4-way after Tony G opens, and Viffer, Negreanu, and Scott Seaver all come along. That matters because equities flatten in multi-way pots. Single pair hands lose value while nutted, and draw heavy holdings gain. Tony G's range from early position in this lineup still contains suited connectors.
This is room for everyone to keep improving.
I mean, the way you guys all play, there's certainly tons of room.
Yeah.
Scott calls.
I'm gonna go with an old Helmuth trick. Watch this, gentlemen. Check in the dark. How do you fade that? Seriously, check in the dark. I don't even want to see what's coming.
Checking through is revealing. On this texture, the pre-flop raiser has a lot of 1-pair and gut shot combinations that dislike being raised by 3 players.
See how that worked? Because if I wouldn't have done that, they would have been more scared. My turn, right?
Daniel's still open-ended.
Did you qualify?
Yes, I've qualified pretty comfortably at this point. The question is, how much do I want to put in there?
You checked.
No, I'm not. I'm not, for sure.
You're not checking?
Yeah. If you're folding any badges, you can just do that now. I'm going to put in...
The turn is the 7 of spades, a huge card for Tony G's side of the range, and a bad one for capped checkbacks. Negreanu leads $3,600 into the field, a small sizing that targets folds from the Broadway airballs, and denies equity to Queen 9, 9-8, and the club draws. Scott's call with Queen Jack keeps dominated queens in, but the raise from Tony G to $14,000 is the pivotal data point. After a street of passivity, that raise is heavily weighted to value.
If I win the pot, I'll give you your money back.
Negreanu's call with King-Queen looks ambitious only if you ignore blocker logic. He removes the queen that completes Tony G's higher straight and retains outs to the ace or 9 to make his own. Scott correctly recognizes he's in kicker jail and releases.
Wow, that was a big sweat.
Took a long time. That speech really got him.
He made a big laydown just now.
The river is the 9 of diamonds. Range-wise, it's a dagger for Tony G. His made straight from the turn remains a straight, but Negreanu's King-Queen now upgrades to the higher straight. When Negreanu fires $35,000, the story is polarized between exactly that high straight and bluffs that bricked clubs or random Queen X that tried to push Tony G off a one-pair hand.
Are you also offering my 4,800 back if you...
Tony calls and Daniel wins a $100,000 pot.
I had the nuts on the turn. Wow, well done.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on pocket kings. Negreanu opens to $1,600 with pocket kings, exactly the kind of value raise that wants callers but still punishes dominated Broadway and suited connector opens. Phil lock flats with 6-4 suited, a speculative defend that plays best deep and multi-way. Wiggins comes along with Jack-9 offsuit. His call widens the pot with position and a hand that makes strong pairs and disguised 2-pair. Wiggins immediately stabs $2,200 into $5,800. From his seat, this is a natural protection bet. He wants to charge draws and prevent free cards to the overpairs that can counterfeit him later. Negreanu calls with kings. Raising folds out worse and funnels him into a range versus range fight on a coordinated board where he has only one blocker to the flush draw. The turn brings the 10 of clubs, tightening everything. It completes some straights and increases the number of combo draws that would continue. Wiggins slows down with a check. That makes sense. 2-pair on this texture can be fragile when the turn connects so neatly with the flop. He also gives Negreanu rope to bluff what looks like ace-king or miss diamonds. Negreanu bets $10,000. This is a disciplined value protection sizing. Kings are still ahead of the 1-pair portion of Wiggins's flop stab, and they deny equity to the diamond and gutter region, but the sizing is small enough to avoid isolating himself only versus straights and 2-pair.
Oh, Daniel, come on,
I'm thinking about maybe just doubling you up real good.
Ernest led on the flop, then called the turn. Say what you will about the guy, but he hasn't been chasing a lot of draws, so Daniel has to know Ernest has a real hand.
I check.
2 pairs.
Yes.
Jack-9.
I knew it.
Favorite hand.
Worry about grinding.
Jack-9.
Poopy, poopy, poopy. I think it would have worked.
I mean, a real hefty bet, honestly. You know, I'm thinking like, I'm thinking maybe got an 8.
I had 2 kings, man.
Daniel Negreanu has pocket kings.
Raises?
Yeah, queen high. Queen high?
He opens the pot to $1,200, a classic early position flex that targets the blinds and sets up a pot he can steer in position. Phil Helmuth, smooth, calls, choosing pot control and range protection over a thin 3-bet. Eugene Kachalov comes along as well with ace-9, content to realize in position and take a multi-way flop against 2 ranges that can play face-up on ace-high textures. Kachalov checks the ace-high flop, protecting a top-pair hand with a middling kicker and letting the action declare itself. Negreanu checks behind. Pocket kings hate attacking into 2 players on an ace board, and the slow down keeps weaker hands and bluffs alive while controlling the pot. Helmuth takes the invitation and fires $1,200, a small stab meant to fold out nothing hands and price set against exactly these cautious checks. Kachalov calls, signaling he is not afraid of a little heat with top pair. Negreanu overcalls, a cagey line that keeps both ranges uncapped and disguises the true strength of kings by wearing the same hoodie as Ace-X.
You too, Daniel?
Yeah.
My God.
You didn't expect 2 calls, right?
No,
Just one.
I was expecting 1 call.
No.
All 3 check the turn after the 8 rolls off. That card changes little. Kachalov sees no need to inflate with his kicker problem. Helmuth's one-and-done bluff correctly shuts down into 2 sticky ranges, and Negreanu continues the sandbag, preserving the option to spring value or bluff catch on rivered scare cards. The river drops the king of clubs and the trap wakes up. Kachalov leads $4,200, thin value that hopes to get paid by worse aces and denies a free showdown to stubborn pairs. Negreanu answers with a raise to $14,200, selling a story consistent with a slow-played monster or a patient ace that improved, and crucially targeting the very hand Kachalov is value betting.
I think Phil's Hollywooding a bit here since he bet out on the flop.
Helmuth gets out of the way, his earlier poke having run its course. Faced with a credible, disciplined raise from a player who never overbets his bluffs, Kachalov has to reassess whether Ace-9 is really a cash-out hand or a tip jar. What is your read? Are you folding or calling in Kachalov's position? Let me know in the comments.
And Eugene folds.
I had at least that.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on Queen 10 offsuit.
Let's do something fun. Let's just do that. You have position, you can't fold.
His late position open sits squarely in a linear cutoff range. Scott defends the big blind with Ace-9 offsuit, a textbook continue that dominates Negreanu and realizes well closing the action.
Tony G move one time. A little dark fire.
Because Negreanu bets in the dark, his $2,200 flop stab isn't tailored to the texture that appears. On this board, the big blinds defend has more one-pair coverage while the opener keeps the higher overpairs and sets, though those are a thin slice. By only calling, he keeps Negreanu's bluffs alive, protects his check range, and avoids isolating himself against better jacks and sets.
I don't want to see it.
Another 9.
What is it? Tell me.
It's the 9 of spades.
Yes! Okay.
A paired top card massively benefits the blind's defend, which contains far more 9x. Negreanu's second bet in the dark, for $5,600, is now functionally capped and almost never a 9.
Yeah, see, that was stupid. Oh, brother. Kind of stupid of me to do that. I want to see the river. Show me a rabbit hunt.
Daniel folds.
Okay. Phew. No, I didn't.
Everybody limps to Negreanu's big blind, happy to take an almost family pot with the loose cannon.
Buddy, he shows you nothing. He showed me a full house.
And there goes Tony G. See ya.
The flop comes rainbow, but both Negreanu and Helmuth hit top pair. Wiggins and Daniel check. Lack attacks the standard range poke on this dry board, hoping no one has a queen. Helmuth immediately bumps it to protect the queen and tacks any potential draws, denying price to gutters. Wiggins gets out of the way. Daniel now springs the trap and re-raises to more than $11,000.
Phil lock.
See ya!
And tries to rep a bigger queen at Phil's, and it sets the tone that the big blind can still own boards that strike his defending range. Phil, with Queen 9 in position, makes the call. He beats every bluff, ties some value, and thinks Daniel can be overprotecting a queen or leaning on fold equity. The turn pairs the board with the 2 of diamonds. That card massively reduces the number of value combos Daniel must fear. But more importantly, the pair deuce kills a lot of Phil's semi-bluff equity and makes it harder for Phil to credibly have a monster. Daniel fires $12,000. This bet is thin for value plus protection, denies free cards, and prevents Phil from realizing with hands that raised flop light. Phil calls again, which is consistent with his plan to bluff catch cap lines and keep Daniel honest on rivers. The river is the 7 of clubs, a relative brick that doesn't complete the major straight draws. Daniel checks.
A queen. Me too. No kicker.
Chop pot.
Okay. I screwed that up. I should have moved in on the river. Damn it. I'm so unlucky, stupid. Unreal, the deuce on the turn.
Deuce on the turn saves your
Sick.
ass.
He's supposed to bet there. I'm gonna move it in. Who are these guys? Where do they come from? Sick.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on pocket queens. He opens to $1,200 from early position that raise sizes well for a loose table and keeps his range strong and uncapped. 4 players continue. David Williams flats with pocket kings. Against this many callers, Negreanu's plan is straightforward.
We have some action.
Play pot control against condensed ranges, realize position, and let dominated one-pair hands overplay on later streets. The monotone, king-high board polarizes ranges immediately. Nut advantage lives with suited spades and sets. Top pair advantage sits with the blind callers and late position flats. Minieri checks.
Everyone take a look, see if they have a spade in their hand.
Calacanis takes a small stab of $4,000 into about $20,000. A sizing that usually represents one pair without a high spade, weak spade draws, or simple information gathering. Negreanu just calls with queens. That flat keeps his range wide and invites dominated value behind to continue. Critically, holding the queen of spades blocks the nut flush combinations and secures useful run-out equity if a 4th spade arrives.
Pulling.
And the loose cannon's all in.
Cannon time.
Abe and Jason are out.
Oh boy. Gamble, gamble.
You don't have much money.
26.
Count what you got. Let's have a count of the loose cannon one time.
Boy, here you go.
This could be
It's like 75.
this could be that time here.
On the 4. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you're supposed to gamble sooner or later.
Daniel calls.
Pair the board, I'll call.
David's in 2.
Got a flush.
Oh no! Okay.
Wow.
He's good.
no,
Well, you would have busted me anyway.
Hold on,
Okay, I got a big side pot working. So let's just have a spade.
Let's pair the board.
Just do one time, right?
I would like to do more than one, but actually screw that, one time.
What the heck? That's a spade.
Good hand.
Will's
Oh,
out.
so I won that pot for sure. Go ahead, pair the board. What the hell?
All right, he wants to pair it, so just pair it.
It doesn't.
Scooped it.
Wow.
Sick hand, buddy.
Phil Ivey is looking down on 8-6 offsuit. Vanessa makes it $25K with pocket 7's bread and butter early value that plays beautifully on low textures and keeps worse pairs and broadways defending. Artem overcalls, sweetening the price. Phil Ivey flats purposefully. 8-6 thrives deep and multi-way, makes nutted straights on boards early raisers hate, and carries just enough backdoor potential to pressure later streets. The flop falls low and connected. Artem checks and Phil fires 50K when checked to. Into 2 players and on a dynamic board, that stab credibly represents sets, 2-pair, and strong draws, while letting him realize his equity with the open-ender plus the 6 of clubs as a valuable blocker. Vanessa just calls with top set. Raising with narrow ranges to strong draws and made flushes later, calling keeps Phil's bluffs and semi-bluffs alive, invites Artem to continue, and disguises the real strength of her hand on a texture that can shift quickly. The turn is the 10 of clubs, completing the front door. Artem checks again and Phil barrels 150K. That card is a green light for continued pressure. If he's bluffing, the club gives him story and leverage. If he's value, he wants to tack sets and 1-pair hands immediately. The 6 of clubs in his hand trims the strongest flush combos Vanessa can have. Vanessa's call is disciplined. She retains all her full house redraws, avoids isolating herself versus made flushes, and keeps Phil's entire range pointed at a river decision. The river is the 4 of hearts. No new club appears, but one of Phil's key rivers does. The straight gets there.
Phil Ivey, everybody. Best in the world. Cracks 7s with 8-6, the classic.
While we wait for Phil Ivey to make his decision, please click the like button. It helps out a lot, thank you. He chooses 400K, a polarizing bomb that plays perfectly against the range Vanessa has represented by calling twice, overpairs without a club, 7s that didn't raise, and some cautious club hands. With the 6 of clubs blocker reducing nut flush combos and a coherent story from flop to river, this sizing forces exactly the kind of uncomfortable, high-stakes decision he's been building toward all hand.
She folds. She made that look so easy.
Not the turn I wanted to see.
3-7?
Malik is looking down on pocket 4s. He limp calls the small blind to keep the pot cheap, hide his strength, and tempt the big blind to isolate wider than normal. Reichenstein does exactly that with queen 6 offsuit.
1.2? 1.4. Wow. 1.4. Okay.
Yuri may end up regretting telling Sebastian to have fun.
Malik's banter here is not small talk. It's deliberate downplay to make his range look weak and to encourage future barrels. On an ace-high 2-heart flop, the raiser is supposed to bet at a high frequency, so Reichenstein's c-bet is automatic. Malik just calls. Raising a set here would shut down bluffs and fold out a ton of hands that are willing to keep paying. The flat keeps his range looking like weak aces, small pairs, and heart draws. It also preserves the initiative narrative on Reichenstein's side, which is exactly what you want when you're trapping. The turn brings the 10 of spades, a card that's better for the better story than for the callers. It adds overcard pressure to Malik's perceived ace-rag or pocket pair range and gives Reichenstein clean justification to keep firing with value and withdraws. Malik calls again. He isn't worried about protection. He wants the widest possible river betting range. Calling maintains the illusion that he's hanging on with a marginal 1-pair hand or a busted draw and invites a big third barrel.
Malik improves to quads.
Oh, wow, just quads.
The river is the 4 of diamonds and it detonates the trap. Malik upgrades from a set to quads at the exact moment his opponent is most committed to the bluff. From Reichenstein's chair, this is a perfect shove card with value and a great scare card for bluffs. Many weak aces should fold to maximum pressure and missed hearts are everywhere. He chooses a large bet to blast those hands out. The problem is credibility and blockers. Queen 6 with no heart blocks, nothing that matters. It doesn't remove Malik's full houses, quads, or even the strong ace-x that will call. Meanwhile, Malik's line of call arrives at the river with almost no natural bluffs and a ton of slow-played value.
He shoves.
When he moves all in, he's perfectly polarized and his story is airtight. He let the big blind tell the tale on every street, then revealed the ending.
He folds. $383,000 pot.
Ryan is looking down on ace-deuce suited. He got involved in a few bad beats that night, but little does he know the worst is yet to come. Nick airball takes the button and turns pre-flop into a leverage spot built on position and blockers. His small 3-bet keeps his range wide and the stacks deep, daring the blinds to define themselves out of position. Ryan answers with a chunky 4-bet from the blind, the classic polarized blend of premiums and suited wheel aces that block 5-bet value. Nick's 5-bet to 33K is deliberately petite and keeps everything playable. That sizing telegraphs polarization 2 hands happy to shovel later, and a few suited high-card bluffs that block premium combos and still see flops well. King 9 suited is exactly that kind of wolf in sheep's clothing. It removes King X from Ryan, plays clean on Broadway boards, and retains disguised equity on monotone textures. Ryan's call with ace-2 suited preserves his 4-bet bluffs and defends his story, but it consigns him to the worst seat in a 5-bet pot and leaves him short on nuttiness unless he specifically shows up with the ace of hearts.
68,000 almost already in the middle.
The flop is a monotone Broadway dream for the button, and Nick has the dream within the dream King of Hearts and 9 of Hearts for the straight flush. On these boards, the 5-better naturally owns the suited high card advantage, so his small continuation bet works on every level. It pressures ace-high and medium pairs. It denies a cheap look to hands with a single heart, and it looks perfectly routine whether he's bluffing or holding the nuts. Ryan's call keeps his range wide but already shaky. With ace-2 of diamonds, he has no flush equity, no pair, and no blocker to the nut region Nick actually represents. He's floating almost entirely on the belief that later aggression will fold out hands like red queens or a single king of hearts. The problem is structural. Without the ace of hearts in his hand, his story is missing its cornerstone. Every call he makes builds a pot he'll be forced to bluff later with nothing to lean on. The turn is a blank for Ryan's real hand and a test of discipline. When Nick bets again for 26K, it's the kind of second barrel that keeps pressure on weak pairs and teases calls from single heart holdings. While we wait for Ryan's decision, I would be very grateful if you hit the like button. It helps out a lot. Thank you.
What is Ryan doing? He raises.
Ryan turns to the only weapon he has and check raises to 80K. On paper, it's a move that can make sense. A blind who 4-bet pre and check the flop can credibly represent slow-played ace-high flushes or overpairs containing a big heart. The trouble is combinatorics. Against Nick's 5-bet range full of king-high and ace-high suited broadways, you need the ace of hearts or king of hearts in hand to strip value from his continuing region. Without it, you're bluffing into a range that simply doesn't fold.
You can see Ryan rolling his eyes at himself.
Nick's decision to flat rather than jam is the final layer of control. It keeps Ryan's bluffs alive, invites another shove from weaker value, and guarantees a river spot where his straight flush is untouchable.
All in. All in. And Ryan shoves.
You win.
And loses a $383,000 pot.
Oh, what a stupid
Wow.
Nick airball finds ace-king suited in late position and turns the pre-flop spot into a squeeze. His 3-bet to 10K is perfect at these depths. It punishes flats, leverages 2 premium blockers, and sets up a post-flop range edge against the blinds. Ryan defends the big blind with pocket queens, a disciplined cold call that keeps worse in and avoids getting 4-bet into a nightmare. Calling also disguises his hand. If the board doesn't spike an ace or king, he'll realize well from out of position. The flop is range heaven for the 3-better and exactly the sort of board where Nick's holding sits on top. He goes tiny for 4K. On high card, Rainbow textures the small stab is doing 2 jobs at once. It taxes stubborn middling pairs and extracts from dominated top pairs without polarizing his range. Ryan's call is perfect. Raising turns his hand face up and risks folding out all the second best value that will keep betting for him. Calling keeps Nick's range uncapped and preserves the trap. The turn is a brick that mostly freezes ranges. Nick continues for 16K. That second small barrel keeps pressure on exactly Ryan's hand class. Strong but not invincible, and prevents the pot from getting checked through to a river that could counterfeit value. Ryan calls again, which effectively caps him under ace-king and kings while keeping worse ace-x and the occasional floated queen in. The river pairs with the king of clubs and the board flips hard toward Nick. Ryan checks for the 3rd time, and Nick unloads 85K.
I don't think I'm folding, but that was like the stupidest river.
Wow, and Ryan seems to have a pretty good read on what's going on here.
It's a great value sizing on paired top card rivers. The big bet forces queens, king-queen, and even some ace-queen to make a miserable decision. Ryan can't find the fold and gets shown the bad news.
Nice throw.
Nick airball opens the cutoff to 2K and several players peel, Ryan among them from the big blind with king 10 suited. Multi-way changes everything. Opening ranges widen, top pair shrinks in relative value, and the pre-flop raiser's c-bet frequency plummets unless he can bet small and target a lot of second-best hands. The flop is a complete collision for the two we're tracking. Ryan flops trips. Nick already holds 7s full of kings. Into a field, this bet is powerful because it looks like automatic c-bet, while actually extracting from every king and diamond draw without scaring them off. Raising from Ryan would polarize him into exactly boats or bluffs and punt value against the rest of the table, so he just calls and keeps worse kings and bluffs in front of him. The turn brings the queen of hearts. Ryan checks again, and Nick follows with another small value bet, 5K. That sizing continues the same story. It prices in dominated kings and sticky pocket pairs, while keeping the pot multi-way friendly. If Nick goes big here, he folds out too much of the range he's targeting and isolates himself versus better kings. The river is the 10 of hearts, and the script flips. After 2 streets of check call, he now leads for 20K. That river donk is smart for 2 reasons. First, the board texture can slow Nick's betting cadence and risk a check back. Second, compared with the first hand, where Ryan faced a big river blast, leading lets him set the price and guarantee value from worse boats and stubborn kings that hate folding.
I have a bad feeling about this one. I have a full house.
Me too.
Ryan leads. Nick just calls, and Ryan wins a pot of $66,000.
Vanessa is looking down on ace-jack offsuit. Pre-flop is a quiet trap that Vanessa sets on purpose. Antonio opens the button light, which Vanessa flat calls from the small blind, and Shaq completes. By not 3-betting, Vanessa keeps both dominated aces and splashy suited connectors in. Multi-way, in position on Antonio and with Shock behind. Ace-jack plays beautifully. She wants exactly this kind of pot. That's top pair, top kicker for Vanessa on a very wet texture. Instead of checking to the raiser and risking a free card or a check through 3-way, she leads 165K. It's a protection lead that charges every draw and worse jack. Shaq's hand is the textbook, raise the donk, candidate, pair plus clubs plus straight equity. He bumps it to 400K, telling a story of strength while leaning on fold equity plus a ton of ways to improve. Vanessa just calls. No reason to blow up the pot against a range that includes bluffs and dominated value. And if she 3-bets, she mostly isolates the strongest stuff or gets shoved on by draws with tons of equity. Flat keeps the leash tight. Turn pairs the board. That card quietly helps Vanessa more than Shock. Sets are less likely now. Her jack stays very live, and a bunch of Shaq's pair-based value gets neutered. He still has all the draws, though.
And Shaq shoves!
I call.
Vanessa calls! It's a 10! That was not supposed to happen.
Selbst, sitting in the big blind, looks down at a pair of jacks, a strong but tricky hand in this scenario. Facing a raise and a 3-bet, she opts to flat call rather than 4-bet. While a 4-bet would help narrow the field and define her opponent's ranges, it could also bloat the pot and force her into tough post-flop spots if she's up against a hand like queens, kings, or aces. Her flat call allows her to control the pot size while disguising her hand strength, keeping her range wide enough to include potential traps. The flop lands Queen 2 Jack, and Selbst couldn't have asked for better. Her pair of jacks connects perfectly, giving her middle set and a commanding lead in the hand. Chen, holding Ace-Queen suited, flops top pair with backdoor flush and straight draws, making his hand strong but significantly vulnerable to Selbst's concealed strength. Selbst leads out with 80,000 bet, a sizing that achieves multiple goals. It builds the pot while extracting value from weaker hands like top pair or speculative holdings with equity. Importantly, her bet disguises her hand's full strength. Opponents may interpret it as a standard value bet or even a semi-bluff. Chen, with top pair and additional equity from his backdoor draws, decides to call. From his perspective, Selbst's range from the big blind could include hands like king-queen, queen-jack, or even bluffs, making a fold too conservative. The turn changes the dynamics of the hand with the 8 of diamonds, creating a more draw-heavy board. Selbst still holds the lead with her set of jacks, but the new card introduces a flush draw and enhances the straight possibilities. She increases the pressure with a bet of 150,000. This bet is designed to charge draws like the nut flush and extract further value from hands like Chen's top pair. While the sizing is solid, Selbst may have missed an opportunity to go larger, putting Chen to an even tougher decision. Chen's ace-queen suited improves with the nut flush draw, making his hand significantly stronger in terms of potential equity. He calls the 150,000, which is the correct decision based on the pot odds and his outs to the nut flush. By calling, Chen keeps the pot manageable while preserving his chance to improve on the river. The river delivers the 7, completing Chen's nut flush with ace-queen suited and spelling disaster for Selbst. Unaware of Chen's exact holding but recognizing her set is still vulnerable, Selbst decides to shove all in. However, this move is a misstep. The shove assumes Chen might fold marginal holdings, but his turn call strongly represents a flush, especially the nut flush. A smaller bet, or even a cautious check, could have limited Selbst's losses given the dangerous board texture. Chen barely needs to think. With the nuts, his call is automatic. There's no possible hand on this board that can beat him. He confidently flips over his cards, claiming the massive pot, and leaving Selbst regretting her river shove. Tedeschi kicks things off with pocket queens. He is raised to 36,000, but he's up against McAllister, whose cards we don't know yet.
Philip McAllister calls out of a stack of 1.74 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of dimp.
Rabba comes in from the big blind, so a 3-way to the flop.
Jaya Rabba.
And that flop is Queen 8-4 with 2 clubs. Looks like Rabba has checked to the razor.
Makes sense.
Tedeschi's pocket queens just flopped top set on a pretty dry board. It's a dream scenario for him, but McAllister and Rabba could easily have flush or straight draws since they just called pre-flop. So he's probably going to look for a value bet here.
It's been checked to McAllister. And I've been impressed by what we've seen from this guy today.
Pose. Really? It supposedly means you're comfortable. A lot of poker players sit like that.
So the bet from McAllister is 48K.
Rabba doesn't look like he's gonna fold here. We don't know if he's drawing or if he actually has a piece of the board. But after Tedeschi checked on the flop, he might raise and try to scare him off.
Rabba calls. Monsieur Tedeschi.
I think it's Paul Tedeschi, actually.
Tedeschi's in an interesting spot here. He's confident his hand is strong, but Rabba's call indicates some kind of draw or a strong pair. He's probably wondering if Rabba's just trying to see the turn cheaply or if he's setting up a move. It's a tricky decision. Does he bet for value or does he just call and allow these 2 bad boys to potentially bluff on the turn?
That's a call as well. We're still 3-way as we go to the turn. Yeah, Jack of hearts on the turn. Rabba checks. And I think that was a check from Tedeschi, yep.
He's gone from the 1 arm on 1 shoulder to 2 arms on 2 shoulders. The old water slide pose.
Philip McAllister bets again, 136,000.
This could be a potentially huge pot.
Especially as it looks like he's calling. He's raised all in. McAllister just called. He flats the all in. But look at the price he's getting.
Cool. Okay, well,
does call.
No one has a pot-sized bet left behind now.
Point.
The river brings the ace of hearts, and Raba's looking down at the board, still not knowing the strength of Tedeschi's hand. He could be holding a decent pair or even a straight, but the ace definitely changes the dynamic. Does he believe Tedeschi has a hand like two pair, or is he worried about a potential set or a straight? The ace might just be the card Raba needs to bluff at this pot and try to steal it.
Do these two just check it down? No, they don't. He bets 300.
Actually competing for the main pot of 1.4 million. And now, McAllister moves all in.
How does everyone have a hand here?
I have no idea. Baffling the way this hand is played out. That's a call.
No, it's a fold. Yes. And he likes what he sees.
No, King 10 clubs.
King 10 of hearts for a royal flush.
It is a royal, and look at that, Tedeschi did have a set of queens. What a terrible, disgusting run out for what is going to be the best hand almost always.
This was a nasty royal flush poker river cooler.
She's in with sixes.
Jennifer Tilly kicks things off with pocket sixes. This is a decent hand to entertain a small raise with and see if luck is on your side.
Back on Arden. She calls the 3-bet as well, so 3-way to the flop. Oh my word, set over set, and Griffin's flop top pair?
This is going to be bad for Griffin, but it's going to be real bad for Arden.
With the board that the flop delivers, everyone has something to bet about. But instead of that, Tilly and Cho decide to check. With that in mind, our weak top pair is trying to take control of the board by shooting a small bet of $2,500. Tilly is loving it because other than a set of kings, nothing else on the board beats her, and she would love to see this pot growing, so naturally she calls. Miss Cho, on the other hand, has a completely different plan. She is not waiting for the pot to grow. She is growing it herself. She does that by firing a $9,400 bet. Now Benger has a choice. Entertain this top pair, or realize the truth and just give up.
Why is he so serious? He's like a goober 99% of the time.
The angry man quickly decides to fold and not pursue the king. On the other hand, Tilly is more than happy to oblige Miss Cho by re-raising to $30,000 with her set of sixes.
Oh boy.
Jen re-raises $30,000.
At this point, Miss Cho should know the deep trouble she finds herself in, but still decides to go ahead and call on her set of fives. The turn delivers the 9 of clubs, a card that is completely irrelevant to both of them. If I was in the position of Tilly, I would be betting pot here. What would you? Let me know in the comments below. I guess Tilly is not so happy about my jamming suggestion, so she decides to check here and wait for something magical on river. Same thing for Miss Cho. In her case, though, that is in her favor.
And Arden spikes a 1-outer. She's got quads. Meanwhile, Jen has rivered a full house.
Buckle up, because this hand just went from pretty sick to absolutely bonkers.
People say patience is a virtue, but in Tilly's case, her patience came to bite her from behind. The river delivers the only card that can save Miss Cho, and that is the 5 of clubs. Now the only question is, will Tilly get baited by her now full house hand? Or will she read her for the quads Miss Cho has? And as we all thought she should do, Miss Cho goes.
There it is.
This is not good.
No, it sure isn't.
If Jen calls, this will be the biggest pot of the game.
Arden, you have quads because it can't be quads.
Does she know?
I don't think you have kings full. And I don't think you have 9s full. You might have 5s full.
That's a call.
Tom Dwan is looking down on pocket 7s, but he's up against Doug Polk, who's raised to $3,000 with 5-4 suited. 99% of players would just fold with Doug Polk's cards here, but at a cash game of these stakes, the players are mostly playing the players, not the cards. It's a semi-bluff. He's hoping he can steal the pot uncontested.
Woo, 14.
Tom Dwan raises more than 2 times to pot. This is a classic squeeze spot, punishing Doug Polk's wide cutoff open by denying him the cheap positional advantage and forcing him to commit big if he wants to dance. Doug Polk definitely knows he's a big underdog against a small blind 3-bet range. The call here is less about hand strength and more about trying to outplay Tom Dwan post-flop, using position to create fold equity.
Doug Polk opening the suited connector in the cutoff. Tom Dwan puts in the 3-bet from the small blind and flops middle sets. 31,000 in the middle.
In 3-bet pots, the pre-flop aggressor usually controls the story, and this board gives Tom all the credibility in the world. Doug's range has a lot of air here, so Tom can lean into that advantage and apply maximum pressure, knowing position alone won't save Doug if the bets start piling up.
Doug Polk is going to float.
I don't know why, but I thought Warren just said all in for a second. I was like, whoa.
Needs running cards to make a hand.
The 6 of hearts on the turn gives Doug Polk an open-ended straight draw, and knowing his maniac style of playing, it could cost him a lot of money.
Could win on the river with an 8 or a 3.
Tilt software and let's get this shit going.
This should be.
Another half pot bet.
115.
And Doug's going to raise.
By inflating the pot here, Doug Polk is putting maximum pressure on Dwan's range and setting up the possibility to shove the river whether he hits or not.
I call.
Interesting.
Battling.
Tom Dwan knows Doug loves bluffing, so he checks to trap him.
420.
What are we doing?
You win.
I know I win, probably.
Uh-oh.
Tony G is holding 5-4 offsuit. Pre-flop. Tony G opens to 1,000. Helmuth bumps it to 2,000. That re-raise looks small, almost like a keep-it-friendly sizing, but it is actually very revealing. With a hand that plays great post-flop and dominates Tony's usual junk, Helmuth chooses control over punishment. He does not go big and try to blow Tony out. He invites him in.
Things can get nasty at the end, right? The river was wild.
Confident that if they see a flop, he will outplay him. Tony checks, which is standard with his marginal pair and draw potential, but Helmuth checks back as well. That check from a 3-better on this texture is all about pot control and deception. In Helmuth's head, his hand is good often enough that he wants to see turns and rivers without inflating variance. From Tony's perspective, this is the perfect moment to take the lead. He bets 4,000. It looks like a probe from a weak 9 or a semi-bluff, but underneath it is pure value, designed to keep Helmuth's entire range in.
Call. That's 10 grand. Phil calls, sees the bad news.
He has a full house.
You didn't raise?
At least maybe we'll get the blow up we're all waiting for.
I know you got a flush.
The 9. This guy's raising.
He's got a 9. You drew.
Explosion's about to happen.
Bring the trike.
Bottom pair against top pair. Where he's going to pay me off another 7,000, 8,000, but no, he fills up and wins 14 for me.
You're a disgrace to the game.
Where do you come up with that?
I'll tell you, can I tell you one thing, Tony? Can I tell you one thing? I wish that I weren't a bad loser sometimes, but it's 10 times as bad to be a bad winner. And you're a bad winner, my friend.
Vanessa is looking down on pocket aces.
So it's me and you. I got to raise it 1,200.
Winning 5 isn't called predictable. I have many things.
So if you re-raise, then you build the pot so big, and then you're going to get bluffed out in the big pot.
Tony G thinks he's going to outplay Vanessa post-flop with position and a junk-suited looking hand.
Keep the pots low. I bet 2,000.
Yeah.
That's fair, you know. I think it's better betting in a dark. A dark raise, that's hard and commitment.
The flop is the dream board for Tony. He smashes bottom 2 pair versus most opponents. This is where he starts fast playing, trying to punish overpairs and top pair by ballooning the pot immediately. He leads 2K, to which Vanessa instantly raises to 5K. From her point of view, this looks super standard. She has overpair, she doesn't block spades, there are straight and flush combos Tony G can show up with, and she wants to deny equity.
You ready?
From Tony's point of view, that raise is exactly what he was hoping to induce. He doesn't just call, he makes it 20K.
You ready? If you win the hand, you keep me quiet.
Don't believe you. That bluff I'll call.
That size is Tony basically telling a story of, I'm not scared of you, I have a real hand. The problem he doesn't realize is Vanessa loves that story. When she flats the 20K instead of jamming, she's saying, I have you in jail, and I'm letting you keep betting. With aces, she caps nothing, and Tony can't narrow her the way he thinks he can. Turn is where everything flips, and Tony doesn't feel it yet. So Tony keeps value betting for 10K.
You could shut me right up.
How?
Well, by being all in and winning the pot.
Punch in the face.
Can I just push a button?
Thinking he can still get called by worse and charge flush draws. But in reality, he's now drawing almost dead against boats and nutty slow plays, and Vanessa has him in a spot where calling is mandatory and raising is unnecessary. Full house versus full house is where bankrolls go bankrupt, because nobody folds boats to one bet emotionally.
Now you got to show some guts. Can you bet this, or you're going to make a really weak check now on the end? Go on, Vanessa, you can do it.
All in.
Call.
Ace is full.
Wow, very nice. That's the best. Very nice.
You got screwed?
I got a full house too on the end.
Wow.
And a flush draw. That's it. That shut me up. Well done, Vanessa.
Vanessa doubles through.
I got lucky, obviously.
Not really. I mean, it's...
We took turns getting lucky. I got lucky to get the aces, you got lucky on the flop, I got lucky on the turn.
I haven't won one hand when I've been good. So.
Daniel Negreanu kicks things off with Queen-Jack offsuit. He is raised to $2,800, but is up against Tony G with Ace-King offsuit.
Action folds over to Tony G, who makes the call.
Two strong hands going into the flop.
Queen-6-Jack.
King of the world.
Check by Tony G.
Tony G's missed. Daniel's going to fire with top two.
Bets 5,500.
Tony G knows Negreanu would bet this flop even if he had nothing. But he decides not to go for a semi-bluff raise, and instead, he floats, letting Daniel tell his tale while he quietly waits for something on the turn.
Tony has two overcards, even though they're no good. He's really only looking for a 10 to make a gut shot.
There it is!
Tony G tries to keep a poker face as he just hit his straight. He knows Daniel Negreanu is the best of all time at reading people. This is a critical moment to let Daniel continue building the pot. He checks, letting Daniel think two pair is the best hand here. Tony is in total control right now, patiently waiting for the right time to make his next raise get called.
Daniel bets 14 grand. A raise to 50,000 by Tony G.
A quick raise of 50,000. Tony's the kind of player that could be doing this with a worse two pair. He could be doing it with a draw. He could be doing it with flat out nothing, but a raise that big, that fast, usually means only one of two things, a monster hand or a monster bluff.
Daniel makes the call.
Tony using his hand to keep his mouth closed because it's probably watering right now.
The river gives Daniel a full house.
These two have been playing against each other at the highest level for 3 decades.
Tony checks.
Negreanu knows Tony has a straight, as you will see in his prediction at the end. He's not worried about being beaten here. He's just doing the math now. What's the number Tony G can't resist calling here?
Bet 80.
Negreanu makes it 80,000 to go. Snap call from Tony.
Negreanu shows him the bad news, hands him the keys of the city.
You had ace king.
Yep. Well done, Daniel. Well done.
Played it good.
Nice dealer.
Sorry, Tony, you played it good.
Negreanu is looking down on ace-jack offsuit. He opens to 400 in Torelli flats with pocket fives, a perfect depth and position call that set mines while keeping Negreanu's weaker aces and broadways in. Pocket fives thrive in exactly this configuration. Stacks are deep enough to realize implied odds, position is secured on the razor, and there are aggressive players behind who may overcall and sweeten the price. Turning fives into a 3-bet would narrow Negreanu to a tough, high-card range and invite a 4-bet that forces the pair into a guessy spot or a fold. The flop comes queen 5-2 with 2 clubs and the initiative shifts. Negreanu has range advantage and fires 1,150, a small c-bet that folds out the air and taxes hands like ace-x without a club while still keeping dominated queens in.
Over half pot into 4 opponents, this bet should come free with a drink at the bar because it is a little nuts.
Torelli springs the value raise to 2,500 with middle set. It builds the pot, protects against club and straight runouts, and forces Negreanu to define his hand. Negreanu's call is the right kind of stubborn. With ace-jack, he has 2 clean overcards, the nut club backdoor via the ace of clubs, and he keeps Torelli's bluffs and thinner value lines alive, rather than turning his hand into a bluff with a 3-bet. The turn is the jack of clubs, and it's a huge texture shift for Negreanu's strategy even though he's still behind. He pairs up, picks up the nut club blocker, and leads 3,100 into a range that just advertised strength on the flop. The donk bet does several jobs at once. It denies a free card to ace-queen and king-queen with a club. It prevents Torelli from setting the price with all of his strong but vulnerable hands. And it tells a story consistent with a flush that arrived and now wants value. Torelli's call keeps the trap set with his set of fives, but notice how the informational asymmetry flips. Negreanu has seized the narrative and gets to choose the river cadence. The river is the ace of diamonds, pairing Negreanu to aces and jacks and leaving the front door clubs unchanged.
And he moves all in. We could be about to lose Daniel Negreanu.
And immediately turns to the weapon that separates him from almost everyone else at the table, live read pressure via table talk. He starts narrating the hand out loud in a way that pins Torelli to a category.
Got ace, queen of hearts or something?
Alternating confidence with doubt so that every nod in Torelli's head feels recognized. He sprinkles in just enough truth to be believable.
It's like I want to fold.
Really? You have a what?
I want to fold.
You don't have a fold?
No, I want to fold.
Oh,
I wanted to
did you have ace, queen of hearts? Is that what you have? 'Cause that's kind of what I put you on.
Fold the damn turn.
Ace, queen of hearts might get half. Go for the high, I'll take the low.
Might get half, that's good.
I appreciate you watching this far. If you're enjoying these videos, hit that like button. It really helps me out. Thank you.
You're special though.
That's what I've been told. He had fives?
Ding.
And he lays it down! He folds the set!
Show like a red 9 and you're my hero.
I'll show you one card, that's good. Let's see.
King of clubs.
Wow, what a card, right?
Vixen, our cowgirl over here, opens up to pocket kings. An extremely powerful hand that you want to 3-bet your opponents with. And that is exactly what she did. But against her is Zephysh holding the pocket queens, who snap calls her bet. Now only the cards will decide who will win this one. It's time to deal the flop.
Vixen, 2 kings.
Get her.
With a massive 3-bet. Zephysh, the queens.
They made a small mistake on stream which will be fixed. DQ with the ace-3 is folded and the pot is smaller. Even though our cowgirl queen was in the lead, this queen on the flop changes everything. But as she is first to act, Vixen decides to portray strength and bet $2,600. Zephysh thinks for a second, so he doesn't reveal that he is holding the current nuts and casually calls Vixen's bet. I would have 3-bet her here for sure.
And a king on the turn. Set over set. 14K in the pots. It's in. The money's in.
That turn all but guarantees Vixen's win. Zephysh only out is to make quads, and as you can see, there is only 2% chance of that happening. Now Vixen has only one question, and that is, how much does she bet? She takes 39 seconds of thinking before going.
There's the all-in Zephysh and a snap. What a disaster! $32,000 in the pot.
I always go once.
Yeah, sure.
Vixen calls for one time.
Nice, huh?
And the river breaks.
Finishing a long video like this shows real dedication. Thank you. If you'd like to keep following along with the next videos, click the like and subscribe buttons. Dwan is looking down on pocket nines. Dylan opens to $150 with King Jack suited. Classic live open that leverages position, plays well multi-way, and keeps dominated broadways in. LA Dylan 3-bets to $400 with Ace-8 suited. A light but sound squeeze that blocks the strongest 4 bets, takes initiative, and retains playability when called. Dwan cold calls with pocket nines in the small blind versus a wide squeeze and a single open. Set mining is priced in, and nines also realize well on many flops. Dylan closes the action by calling King Jack suited, doesn't want to 4-bet and face a jam. It realizes equity cleanly in position. Dwan checks her underpair on a paired 2-diamond board. Leading folds worse and isolates better. Dylan checks in the middle 2 overcards but no diamond and sandwiched between ranges, so pot control is best. LA Dylan stabs $500 into a multi-way pot. That bet folds a chunk of ace-highs underpairs, charges diamond draws, and keeps his C-bet range balanced with some bluffs. Dwan calls. Nines beat a lot of LA Dylan stabs and can improve. Raising mostly turns her hand into a bluff versus better tense flush draws. Dylan lets it go. No diamond, poor visibility. The 3rd diamond lands and an overcard to Dwan's nines arrives. Dwan checks again, keeping her range uncapped and avoiding getting blown off equity by a check raise. From her seat, LA Dylan's flop stab can include many single diamond floats. Forcing those to fire again has value. LA Dylan checks back, very disciplined with Ace-8 no diamond. His turn barrel would target mostly stronger hands and invite check raises from Dwan's diamond holdings. Checking preserves showdown value versus busted floats and protects his range for when she does show up with slow-played flushes. 4 diamonds on board plus straights complete. Ranges compress, and many one-pair hands hate life. Dwan leads for $2,895.
Really? I played this so bad then.
Andy is looking down on ace-4 suited in a three-way pot. Mariano raised to $500 with king 10 suited, and Charles 3-bet to $2,000.
Could we see a cold 4-bet? No, he's going to call, though. Mariano's going to 4-bet, though. Charles calls. Andy may be considering something.
Good call.
He just calls.
The pot is $27,000 pre-flop. They all have an equal chance for now. Let's see what the flop brings.
Oh, no! You gotta be kidding me!
Andy checks because he thinks he has the best hand. Mariano checks because he knows he has the best hand. And Charles checks because he knows he's drawing dead. The turn comes 3 of hearts, and it changes nothing for everyone.
Mariano, in a 4-bet pot, has flopped a straight flush, and Andy with the ace-high flush.
Mariano cannot check anymore with the straight flush and value bets $8,000. Charles understandably folds.
Mariano started this hand with about $300,000.
Andy raises to pot amount $35,000.
Imagine having a straight flush and getting raised.
The only way to get away from an ace-high flush is if the board pairs. In poker, the correct move doesn't always get you the win. Let's see how much Mariano is gonna bet here, and if Andy makes one of the greatest folds in poker history.
Mariano on the right side of your screen, right there, has flopped a straight flush in a 4-bet pot. $97,000 in the pot.
There's no way anyone is folding ace-high flush here.
Board does not pair, and Andy just bets $120,000. Mariano moves all in. Andy calls and shows him the ace. $611,000 pot, and Mariano can't believe it.
Brandstrom is looking down at king 3 offsuit, but he's heads up against Suitsor, who raised to $900,000 with 6-3 suited.
Does not mix in the re-raise, just a call. Hello, nurse. OMG.
Full house for Brandstrom. Trip 3s for Suitsor.
Brandstrom checks. Textbook trap play. He's got the board absolutely crushed. And by checking, he's giving Suitsor the green light to bet with all his bluffs, value hands, and even air.
He might be tempted not to check raise here, but we can see if he plays it quick, all of the chips are going to be going into the middle.
Here comes the C-bet. 700,000 into 2.2 million.
A standard continuation bet. But in reality, he's walking straight into quicksand. With trip 3s, he's betting for value and protection, expecting to get called by weak kings, pocket pairs, or even some ace-high floats. From Brandstrom's perspective, this is perfect. His check has worked.
You can only play this slow, right? You've just got so much of this, and it's so unlikely that your opponent does. What can you do? Oh, come on.
Jeez.
The turn comes 6 of diamonds, and Brandstrom checks again. It's a brilliant move because it keeps the door wide open for Suitsor to keep betting.
Does Brandstrom want to now start getting all the chips in on the turn?
Suitsor fires 1.7 million. This bet makes perfect sense from his perspective, and Brandstrom has checked twice, showing no aggression.
You gotta just call again and go for value on the river, and you are gonna get it.
The 10 of hearts lands on the river. And once again, Brandstrom checks. He's played this hand perfectly so far. By checking here, he's saying, I don't have a strong hand. You're totally safe to bet again.
The check raise on the river means he'll get to play for all of the chips.
The nonchalant 6 million bet.
Suitsor falls for it completely unaware he's about to get wrecked. But after investing so much, can he actually fold here?
There's the shove, checks his hand, snap calls, thinks it's all over, but it is not.
Too excited, no.
House over house, ridiculously sick cooler.
Daniel is looking down at Queen Jack suited. 2 players before him have called a pre-flop raise, but he decides to 3-bet to $400. Bo is in the tank, and by the look on his face, folding is not even an option. He's got Queen 5 offsuit, no position, and just watch Daniel fire a 3-bet. What is he even thinking? He just calls, and Dat right after him calls too, holding King 9 suited. A hand that looks way prettier than it actually is when sandwiched between a 3-bet and a call. Jake's turn now, and he also decides to call with 3-4 suited, while getting a massage. Damn, that looks good. In fact, I'm gonna visit my Thai masseuse after I finish this video.
Wow. That's a nice flop for Daniel. Not so much for Jake, though he may not
think that right now. Top 2 for Dat as well.
Bo, somehow still alive in this hand with Queen 5 offsuit and 0 clubs, fires $500 into a $2,000 pot like he's playing an entirely different game. Is this a bet or a donation? Dat makes the call with top 2 pair, but he knows better than to get frisky here. In a 4-way pot with 3 clubs on the flop, raising would be like poking a beehive and hoping for honey. Jake raises to $3,200 with just a baby flush, and while that might technically be a made hand, it's far from safe. He's not repping the nuts. He's just hoping to scare off anyone sitting there with a single club and a decision to make. Daniel just flats with the second nut flush, a move that keeps the pot manageable, but might come back to haunt him. A raise here could have smoked out any 1-club hand still chasing that dreaded nut flush. But instead, he opts to play it cool.
I fold.
That club is going to kill Daniel's action despite him having the super nuts.
Daniel moves all in right away and Jake folds.
Wow.
I know what to do. I fluffed a nut. Oh my God. Thank you. Straight flush. Is that crazy though?
The loose cannon is looking down on 10-8 suited. He opens to 2,000 from early position and gets a crowd of people that flat behind him. Nobody is squeezing, so the pot goes multi-way with a lot of capped ranges. Ferdinand still owns the initiative, but he is also walking into a 4-way pot which can always get messy.
Love the action, boys. I could use these chips.
Yeah, we're giving you the action, you know that.
Can you feel the love? I love it.
You'll get the opportunity, that's for sure.
Well, if I fold, I'm definitely rooting for you to win.
Flop comes a minefield. Veldhouse has Queen 9 suited and quietly connects with top pair. Ferdinand's 10-8 is the hand of the moment here. A flop straight with front door flush and straight flush draws. Minieri has 2 big overcards and air. Jetton has 10-3 and is done unless something weird happens. Checks roll around to Veldhouse, and that tells him exactly what he needs to know. Nobody's screaming straight or a set, and Ferdinand did not stab as the pre-flop raiser. Veldhouse takes the lead for 5,700.
I'm all in.
And he's going all in again. Abe folds.
I wonder who we're rooting for this hand.
Probably rooting for me to fold.
Ferdinand does not mess around. He rips it. With a flop straight and front door flush, his shove is the classic pressure play.
You got some sick reads, Lex. You got reads on all of us. Yeah. We know one guy that's rooting for you to fold. There he is. There he is. He's about to come over and take your cards and throw them right in the muck.
And by using his image of the loose cannon, Veldhouse thinks for about a beat and then
Lex calls, and Bobby loves it.
You got it? Oh my God.
Wow, everything. That is everything.
Pretty nice hand, sir. Nuts.
Nuts redraw.
All season long, I see loose cannons going all in with ace high, middle pair, bottom pair.
No.
That's like going through my head.
You can't even hit the 9 of diamonds to help you make a full house here.
Just the one time is fine for Bobby, thanks. The meaningless river.
Oh, straight flush.
Straight flush he made.
That's sick.
Phil Helmuth is looking down on Queen 6 suited. Pre-flop has already built a decent-sized pot, and we end up heads up with Phil Helmuth against Ferdinand's ace-jack. Stacks are deep, they are chatting, but both know this is a spot where one big pot can flip the session. The flop comes paired rainbow. Ferdinand checks from out of position with what looks, on the surface, like top pair top kicker on a paired board. From his seat, it is a little too strong to turn into a bluff and a little too middling to start blowing up the pot. Helmuth has absolutely smashed it. He fires 4,000 into the middle, a classic Phil value bet that looks small enough to get floated by worse aces and stubborn pocket pairs. Ferdinand just calls. His call keeps Phil's entire bluffing and thin value range alive while he sees what the turn brings. At this point, Phil is miles ahead, but the pot is already big enough that one card can flip everything. The turn is the 7 of clubs, and now the backdoor club flush is open. Ferdinand checks a second time, which from Phil's point of view is very comforting. When ace-jack or ace-king does not raise on this turn, it starts to look a lot like a pot-controlled one-pair hand or some give-ups that floated the flop. Helmuth continues for 12,000. That sizing screams, I still have it. He is charging flush draws, extracting value from any ace, and making life miserable for pocket pairs that refuse to believe him on the flop. Ferdinand thinks, and again just calls. He cannot love it, but with ace-jack he beats all the bluffs and every worse ace that Phil is capable of barreling. The river is the ace of hearts, and that card rewrites the script. Ferdinand, who has been in check and call mode on flop and turn, now suddenly leads for 18,500.
Cannon bets.
I was waiting for that.
That river bet is sneaky and brutal. From Ferdinand's side, it makes perfect sense. When the ace pairs, every queen in Phil's range is going to feel invincible.
Is this even possible? I was thinking he was going to pay off 50,000 drawing to 2 outs. It was so sweet. Pot, and I was going to bet 30 in the end, and he was going to call me with his ace-10 or whatever. Oh, come on. Are you serious? I mean, can this just keep happening to me? It's like, you got an ace, Bus?
18-5, you'll see what I got.
You called a pot size.
What do you got?
A pot. I got a queen.
Phil calls.
No stops today in the bus.